Hello again, everybody. This is Tenacious Earl on the Tabletop Baseball Plus channel. The plus stands for other sports, and this is another video where we are going to be using History Maker Golf as our tabletop game and tabletop sport. So if you are just tuning in for the first time, I have a tour that is called the Tenacious Golf Tour. This tour is based off of a fictional set introduced by Play.com. This is called the 2017 Pro National Set. So the golfers that you will see here are not real, but what we're trying to do here is make them somewhat real to life. Each golfer will have his own character, has traits that define who he is as a player, and how he will play as a golfer out there. What will happen when he encounters various situations such as the bunkers, a clutch putt, trying to escape difficult up and down kind of situations, or just overall driving the ball and hitting irons from the fairway, so and such. So that's what this is about. What we do here is, instead of playing out the game itself is pretty cool, and what you'll see is, if you continue to follow this tournament, we do the final round only in terms of how the game is played. Instead, the site is plaay.com. They have introduced and developed a mode called Tournament Mode, which offers an opportunity to sort of fast forward through the early rounds. So most tournaments are 4-round tournaments, so 4 18-hole rounds, which makes 72 holes total. Well, the first 54 holes are, in a sense, fast forwarded through by using their method, which tends to select a relatively balanced set of both somewhat randomized golfers and somewhat randomized and then top golfers in the set. It comes about through using dice, as we do in most tabletop games, but in the case of this, you also end up having some draw aspects, and you also have some aspects where some guys are going to be placed lower and higher. I mean, so what we've done is we already did the cut. If you haven't watched the cut determination video for this tournament is the 2018 Copperhead. It's called the Copperhead because this course is based off of the Innisbrook Copperhead course in Florida. The Valspar Championship is held there every year, at least at this point. But Play's fictional version of it is called Rattlesnake Golf Club, but we're going to call the tournament the Copperhead. So what we did is, if you go back and look for the Copperhead cut determination video, you will see how we do that. Again, it's sort of like a mixture of randomly drawn golfers and top golfers. So what we do now is we get down to the third round, which, if you've ever watched a golf tournament, it's called Moving Day. But what we are, in a sense, doing here is placing golfers in both where they're going to start the final round, and also a small portion, maybe 15 to 20%, will be placed in a place where they could contend to win. The other 80 to 85% are going to be placed where they finish the tournament. And then in the final round, you play it out using the game. You also have an opportunity towards the end of the round to see if one of the better golfers out of that 80 to 85% has a chance to emerge with a good score, and then you play out their final holes. But what we're doing here is just setting up what is the fourth round leaderboard in a way, and also somewhat the final leaderboard. So a couple of notes if you have watched. So I'm going to take just a real short break here. If you haven't watched the cut determination video and you are interested in seeing it, I would 100% suggest to go back and do that right now. This video will still be there when you come back, still be here, you'll be able to watch the end of it. Couple of notes. So when I played out the cut determination, we got 74 golfers. That was great. I entered it in my spreadsheet, and I would love to be able to, sometime I'm going to show you guys my spreadsheet. I've actually really now honed down the data entry part of it to where it is really like A1, right on the money. I mean, it's so good. But what I noticed is that when what I did there was entered in the golfers that missed the cut. And so then after that, I'm able to sort out those players and anybody that was injured, which I didn't have anybody injured. But when I sorted it out, it said I had 77 golfers. I'm like, what happened? Well, there's 3 things that happened. So 3 golfers too many. One is that somehow I put Zach Cameron in twice. So I'm not sure exactly how I did that, but the way that I rectified that is I selected a random golfer out of the qualifiers, and that was Nick Nackland. And I set him to miss the cut as well as Zach Cameron as well. So 2 guys that missed the cut, that got us to 76. Now there are 2 more. So what's going to happen here is if I have situations where I can't find the golfers for whatever reason, right? So I knew which 2 golfers I didn't. So I went back and watched the video. There were 2 golfers that weren't pulled that were in my leaderboard saying they had advanced to the 3rd round. Enrique Magallanes and Augie Kammerman. So it turned out that one had accidentally been stuck in the qualifiers. The other, that was Augie. The other, Enrique, had been stuck onto these cards here, which are like the leaderboard cards. So this is the way I'm rectifying this. And this could be if I find anything that's sort of like, and I would suggest this to you guys as well if you play this game. If you have cards stick together, and so you go through and you set up a spreadsheet, or you write down your leaderboard, and you find out that you have too many cards because 2 stuck together. You didn't get what you expected. This is what I did. I consider both of those guys withdrawn from the tournament. So my explanation for Enrique is he missed his car. So like he had Ubered, but the driver didn't get the right address and gave up. And so Enrique, he got a little testy about it. He tried to line up another driver. By the time he got there, they had already teed off. He missed his tee time, so he had to withdraw. Basically a disqualification. With Augie, we're going to say that he had some flu-like symptoms, and he had to drop out. So he got sick. It's my mistake, but when it comes right down to it, this is the way we're going to do it. So, I mean, you have latitude when you're playing these games to somewhat, like they say, create history. And so that's what we're going to do here in those cases. If someone has a card stuck to another card, we can just sort of, I don't want to include somebody. Now, Enrique Magallanes is doing well, but, the cards were messing with me. So when a card messes with me, he's gone. No. So anybody rooting for him, sorry, but he's not going to earn any money this tournament or any Tenacious Cup points. He's going to be in that final because he's a good golfer, but unfortunately, that's the way it's going to work here. So I will return in just a second with the 3rd round. We'll see how this all plays out. I wanted to say one last thing. You may say, why are you not live streaming this? And the reason is, there's one main reason, and it is it condenses time. I can edit things out. I can take things out that you guys don't necessarily need to see. If you watched the previous video, you would have seen that the time it takes me to put the cards out on the table here before I roll the D20. I mean, that eats away time. Now, I understand that you guys like the live stream and to interact and stuff like that. We will do live streaming during the final round, but I figured that at least in this case, it makes more sense to do a pre-recorded video, stitch it together, upload it, and it also allows me a little more freedom to sort of step away for a minute, come back, and you guys really don't know. So nothing against the live stream. We will get back to doing that shortly, but it may be that I do this from now on just because I think it's a little bit more streamlined and makes a little shorter video. But I've already used 10 minutes here at the beginning of this video to talk through a bunch of things. So let's move into the third round, and we'll get you right to the action here on the Tabletop Baseball Plus channel. This is the Tenacious Golf Tour. Okay, so if you've never seen this before, what we do here is it's very similar to the cut determination, except if you remember the outstanding golfer, he's going to be distinguished in a way. So what we do, instead of making 8 piles with this big pile of the golfers that made the cut, instead we make 7 piles, and then Fauci becomes the 8th, and we use a different chart for determining where guys go. What will happen is that certain draw golfers will go to one of the cards, usually one of the top. So this is going to be the star and A will usually, so this is really A plus, they will usually be your leaders. Star will usually have your leader. A will sometimes, the last tournament, A did contain our leader because nobody got the A plus designation. And then you'll also have a top golfer to get, or you can also have a top golfer, or sometimes it's only a top golfer will be in, again, one of these, or it could be back here. And then you'll have the remaining members of the pile pretty much finish at one of the lower grade ranks. So, and that ends up being how you build your final leaderboard. Obviously, the guys that end up here, in these 3 especially, but also sometimes here and even here, they will play out their final round on camera for all of us to see. So I am just trying right now to kind of shuffle some cards here in a way. So, okay, well, we've done it good enough here. Well enough. So let's cut. And let's cut again. Each of those piles, that gives us 4. Trying to make these as even as possible. Now we're going to cut them again to make 8. But what I'm going to do is the final one, I'm going to spread the cards out amongst the others. So, okay. And I'll tell you what we can do here. We'll go 1 through 8. We will roll this, go up through 16. So this is number 5 right here. This is the one we'll distribute. So we'll just go like this until we fan them all out. All right. So that's how it's going to work out. Let's move this over. We got plenty of room to the left here for you to see. Trying to do this in a way that's not going to... Okay. So there we go. And over here on the very right, we have Steve Fauci, who is the final. All right, so the chart. Here is the third round chart. Again, as you can see, there are some, and when you see this, there will be this little lightning bolt means that there will be tourney perks or issues that are generated from that roll. So what that would mean is that a golfer could either get their game enhanced in a way or could find problems. So let's get started with pile number 1. And actually, I'm going to give me one moment here while I'm going to do the... I like to track things in my little notebook, the rolls and all that stuff. So plus I write down the issues and perks, guys, so that way I don't, if something happens, then I can easily find them. So we've got, this is pile number 1 right down here, and our first roll is going to be a 44. So if you look at the third round, the 44, all golfers contend with B+. So we're going to put everybody right in here. I'm not going to, well, you know what, let's go through them. Patrick Kieran, Delmo Mazzanti, Tom Sudbury, Braden LaSalle, Tagaki Yamasaki, Dustin Emmerich, Jae Gun Woo, Jeremiah James, and Brian Bauer. They're going to contend with B+. Now, let's see. It's, how many cards is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. Okay, so with that, we've got a bunch of golfers here, 8 that are going to be at B+. Now we go to pile number 2, which is right here. That'll be 34 this time. Now for 34, top golfer contends with A-, low golfer finishes with D-, others contend with B+. And so what we do is we take these, and because I don't have a whole lot of room here, I need to do this down here. So if you look here, I put them down here like so. I'll do this only for this first one where we do this. If you saw cut determination, it's very similar. Okay, so you can't see them all down here, but we've got one, well, maybe if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 is over here. You can see it right there in the corner. So we got 10. Let's see. Well, wait, we don't have to do, all we have to do is pick top golfers. So we need to look through here for, here, so Martin Van Dyke is a 1C. I'm going to put some of them up here so I can get more into the frame. So unless there's a 1B in here, it'll be Martin. Oh, there's a 1B. Trent McAdams, 1B. You can see the rest of these guys. It's kind of tough. Like I said, I don't have a ton of room. But Trent McAdams with a 1B is going to contend to A-. All right, low golfer. So we have a 5B. Do we have any? We have 2 5Bs. We're going to put them both. Or wait, let me see. Well, because they're both tied with low, they're both going to go to D-, and then everybody else is going to go. And, well, they're going to contend with B+ as well, so it's going to be quite a schmozzle at B+. We may have some of those guys come into the fold. Okay, so now pile number 3, that's going to be 55. So we've had 2 doubles already out of 3 rolls. That's pretty remarkable. All golfers contend with B, so you got a whole pile. That B+ is probably going to come into play. John Hudspeth, Eddie Sykes, Greer Copeland, Dylan Reed, Carlos Solari. Let's see, it feels like there's one underneath Carlo. Yeah, Evan Aldrich, Kerry Finley, Chico Fonseca, Austin Montgomery, Braylon Huffman. They're going to contend with B. All right, pile number 4. Okay, there's a 12. That may be a little more normal. Top golfer contends with A+, others finish with B-. So we will put them out here and see who's the top golfer. Weber, Luke Henneman, Kenji Morita, 2B currently is. Let's move everybody who isn't. Jimmy Kimes, 3A. Don Slattery, 4C. Lucas Bergman, 4B. Dale George, 3C. Otavio Almeida, 5A. Ryan Broadus, 4B. Bob Kleppner, 4A. Su Cheng Tien, 3B. And what about the last one? Zach Cameron, 5A. So they all finish with B-. Kenji Morita is going to be the one of the top leaders there. No tourney issues or perks yet. So pile 5, and that's a 33, a third double roll, and none of them match, but third double roll and 5. 3 out of 5, that's pretty good. 33, top golfer contends with a perk or issue at A. The others finish with C. So we're going to have a rather good batch of golfers up here. So we'll do it the same way. Hirano, we'll put here, he's 3B. Well, Trenchard is going to beat him out, 2B. Sheridan Cook Jr. Not a 4B with Elliott Strong. Riley Sherrill, 4A. Roger Bellino, 4A. Chase Stevenson, 4A. 3A, Darren Sears. Heath Sommers, 1B. Guess what? Trenchard is going to miss out there. 4A for Hahn. Another 1B for Sommers. So there is a tie. Well, it's not a tiebreaker. We just have to do something else here, but let's see. So 33, others finish with C. So we put all these guys over at C. So the other way that we do in the third round, how we break a tie is we roll the decider die, which if you've never seen History Maker Golf or History Maker Baseball, it's this die here where you can see 3 sides have a dot, 3 sides do not. So it's basically a D2 is sometimes the way I think about it. We roll it for each guy. If he comes up with a dot, he will contend here at A and get a tourney perk. If he doesn't, he is going to contend at B+. So Heath Sommers first. He is not. He's going to be at B+. And he will not get a tourney perk. Gareth Leonard also. Okay, well, that's the way it goes. So now pile number 6, we can move this over a little bit now. 66. Wow. Look at this. I'm writing them down here. We've got 44, 55, 33, and 66. If we get 11 and 22 in the final 2 rolls, that would be quite remarkable. So 66, top golfer contends with B+. Low finishes with D-, and then others finish with C. Wow, boy, this is going to be a really interesting way to pair this out. So the top golfer, so Ian Robards is 3A. There we go. Carson Riddell, 1C. He may be the one. Wyatt Sells, 3C. Kenny Service, 5B. Gooch Wilborg, 3A. Will Janis, 3B. Greg Millwood, 4C. Palmiro Cavallari, 2A, just misses out. 3A for Westinghouse and a 3A for Hockle. So the low golfer, I think it was Kenny Service maybe? He had a 5B, yes. So he will finish with D-. And others finish with C, so they're going to go on top of here. Carson Rodell is going to go to B+ with the rest of these guys. Man, it's going to be pretty tough. I'll have to show you what I'm going to do here in order to get these guys figured out for our final pairings. So there's a 45. There goes our chance at So 45 at, I was going to say 6 doubles out of 8 rolls. Draw golfer contends with a perk, so we'll get at least 1 perk here. So let's see. And then we've got some other verbiage once we do that. Okay, so we have 10. So we do a 1 draw with the 45. And then we do a top golfer. So the draw golfer will be at A-, but it will get a perk. And it's 10, so it'll be this one way over here. It's going to be Yi Chen. It's going to be an A-, and we'll get a perk. Now the top golfer will go to A. Now let's see. Demelmeyer for Young Cho to A. It's going to be Myung Cho at A. Okay. And the other golfers finish with D+. And finally, Steve Foshi. Another 45. So he will be, well, he will be the draw golfer. So he will also get a perk. And will be with Yi Chen right there. Okay, so I've taken care of all the rolls. It's going to be these 4. And we got a huge pile here. What we have is 1, 2, 5 here. We're going to have to find another probably 7 out of this pile that are going to be in contention. So we'll do that here in just a second. I got to reset. Well, actually what I decided to do is instead of setting up right yet, I'm going to show you what I do here. So all these guys on the back are finished. So what I do is I take, like for instance, B-. I'm going to put him that card on top of the pile. And then I put, so C+ didn't have anybody, then I put C, the C card on top of Franz Hockel and the C pile. And I stack them. So that way when I take them to my PC, I can input the grades into my spreadsheet, and I have it so it will automatically calculate their scores that they finish with, because there's a sheet that you can use for the tournament mode. I just have computerized that, which makes life a little easier. So I've got these guys right here. I'll put that in a baggie. And so now that I've done that, I will now set up for setting up our leaderboard. Okay, so now part of setting up, what we need to do is use this chart here. Right down here at the bottom. I'll hold it still there for a second. If you want to pause it and see, you can read some of the verbiage. What you need to have done ahead of time is to determine some items. What last year's winning score was, 270. My target score, I use a roll system. I use a D6 and the decider die to come up with the target score. Based off of the winning score, it's actually going to be 4 lower, so 266. So what we do is that we look at this chart where you find the range, which for us is right here. And what this will do, because 266 is between these two numbers, we come up with our low score would be 197, and so based on a par 71 course, that makes 213. So 203, so that makes 16 under par or 15. So that's where I'm going to get my cards from. So hold on. Okay, so I've done that. Now part of my issue at the moment is I don't have all of the little smaller cards like these made up for all the golfers. I just have them, I'll make them up for these golfers once things are done. But at the moment I don't have them, so what we'll have to do is just use the regular card. So first off, we have Kenji Morita, who is the was at A+. So if you remember down here, A+ was either going to be 197 or 198 based on the decider die. We will roll that. Decider die would mean he is at 197. And as you see, he doesn't get it, so he's going to be at minus 15, 198. So I don't need to write that down yet, but there is that. So now we've got the A golfer, who is Myung Cho. We'll be deciding whether he's at minus 14 or minus 13. And so the decider die is a yes, so he will be at minus 14. Now we've got these three gentlemen. At A minus, we've got Steve Foshi. So this will be at minus 12 or minus 11. So he's going to be at minus 12. Yi Chen, also at minus 12. Trent McAdams, okay, he'll be at minus 11. So that's 5 golfers. Now we've got B+, which I'm going to need to take minus 16 away. We don't need that really, because yet we will during the tournament, I'm quite sure, but let's put that one back and let's get minus 9. So hold on just a second. And so we've got this huge pile. Actually, so these guys at B are probably going to be finished. I'm going to put them in a completely different baggie because we've got such a big pile at B+. I would imagine what we're going to do is we're going to split them up between minus 10 and minus 9. Right? So 203 or 204. And so if... And basically, anybody that ends at minus 10, we're going to play in the final round. So Carson Rodell, well, he's going to be at minus 9. So what he's going to be is, minus 9 guys will be in the emerging contenders. We got Gareth Leonard. Well, he'll be at minus 10. We'll see him. Actually, I should double check these guys to make sure they aren't sticking anybody onto the back of them. Yes, okay. Heath Sommers. Okay, he's got a dot there, so he'll be at minus 10. Contending. Rudy Wallace, a custom card. Nope, he's going to be a potential emerging contender. Ozzy Valenti. Nope. Shinji Kanishi. Another no. Boyd Yeager. That's a yes. So that gets us to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Joey Manini. No. Benicio Vazquez. Yes. Marty Van Dyke. No. Patrick Kieran. No. Delmo Mazzanti. That's a yes. Tom Sudbury. Yes. Braden LaSalle Jr. Yes. How many does that make? That's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have a few more guys, and what we're going to do is, after we make these decisions, we're going to thin the minus 10. We're going to take the lowest rated guy, and we're only going to follow the higher rated tournament guys. So Tagaki Yamasaki, he is a no. Dustin Emmerich, he is a no. Jae-Gun Woo, a no. Jeremiah James, no. Wow, Brian Bauer, this is the last guy. Heck, it may work out perfect if he gets another no. Wow. Okay, well, so there we have it. We are going to have 7 guys at minus 10, and we have a whole bunch of potential emerging contenders that are going to basically be at minus 9 to start, but we're not really going to worry about that at the moment because, you know, there's still, you know, we have a lot of guys basically right in the thick of things, but we also have, I mean, what would be neat to do is to be able to play out those -9s kind of on their own and see if anybody puts up a score, but I had to get another baggie to put these B+ in, but I'm following tournament mode. I want to try to follow it just like we're supposed to, and so we're just going to put these guys away. So I'll be right back here in just a moment. Hold on. And okay, so what do we have here? We have the we have a score sheet where we're gonna use threesomes this time. 2018 Copperhead. And a little later we will do the weather conditions, but what we do is we start out, there's a little space here for your final round leaderboard. So it's going to be K Morita. He'll be at, let's see, that was 198. This is for a 3-round total. First place. And then we got Myung Cho. We saw him in another tournament. I forget which one. He's at 199, one back. And so what I will do is I will fill out the rest of these. Just like that. So as you can see, we've done that. Now all we need to do from there is decide on our threesomes. I'm going to go ahead and turn this down a little bit. What we can do here is, I mean, we're going to kind of go in reverse order. So we're going to take Mazzanti, Sudbury, and LaSalle. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to take Sommers, Jaeger, and Vasquez. Just like that. Now, what we need to do is from here we got Leonard McAdams. Now what we're going to do is, because Yi Chen was lower, we're going to put him, he's going to be the top guy in this group. It's going to be McAdams. And then finally, we've got Morita, Cho, Foshi. So that's going to be your pairings. Now, we got two other things we can do. All right, so this is on the Gulf Coast of Florida. So I would say that is going to be southern U.S., humid subtropical, and this is March, so we're going to roll the two. I can pull this back out here like so. I'm going to roll the two D6s, and there are 3 potential rolls that would get us to where we, and a 22 does. It's going to be W, which means windy. Okay, so windy means all golfers get duffer and utility qualities. Wow, okay. Never had that happen, but now we've got to all our duffer and utility. Well, that's going to make scores a heck of a lot more difficult. And so the last thing that we need to do is, I'm going to show you the current till further notice list. Wherever that is. Well, we've got one more on top of this. So you've got Delmo Mazzanti is actually stormy, so we can write him down, and he is not one to get. It's going to be Yi Chen and Steve Foshi get their own, but so Delmo Mazzanti is going to be stormy. And that's till further notice. Now, the only way is that we have 2 guys that would roll. What I need to do is there's a 5th. So we got Palmiro Cavallari, he's not in here. Joey Manini, he was not, he made the cut, but he wasn't playing. Myung Cho is, you know what, Myung Cho is also stormy. But what we need to do is we need to roll off these other 2. Also, you can only have 5. We do have a 5th. It's Rafael Mraz. He is, till further notice, injured elbow. So basically, if we get another TFN, Myung Cho will no longer be stormy. So let's get the chart here. Now what we do is we roll off of this chart right here, and you can see we roll 1d6 up to well, twice, and a decider die potentially once. So we'll start with, let me get this turned over. We're going to start with Yi Chen, who was the first to go. So we roll this out, and it's going to be a 4. So that means clubhouse, conflicts, alliances with other golfers. So what happens here? And it's a 2. Gain stormy quality. Okay, so because it is a question mark, we roll the decider die, and a bullet means that it's going to be till further notice. So it could be that Yi Chen gains it till further notice. Otherwise, he'll just gain it for the tournament only. And it's only going to be for this tournament. So Myung Cho will remain stormy, but Yi Chen will be stormy. And so now we've got to do Steve Foshi, and I got to write this down in the book too. Just going to write it down. So here is Steve Foshi. He's going to be 2, which is sponsor. And then a 1, gain sunny quality. And that's no TFNs. So Myung Cho is also going to be stormy. And Steve Foshi will be sunny this tournament only. So, and he's in the lead group there. So that could, that's going to affect a few rolls, potentially. Okay, so that's where we stand. No other ones to talk about. Nobody comes off of their TFN. And so I'll be right back in a minute with just a quick follow-up and to discuss what else needs to be done here, and then we will sign off. So be right back. So that is our 3rd round. That is how we set up for the final round. We end up with 12 golfers who will battle it out. Potential for a 13th or a 14th, depending on how this works out. But I think that there's a good chance because with this windy condition, it could very much affect the scores. It could make guys have some real difficulty. You could see some high scores play out here on this final round. A lot of, I don't think I've ever had the duffer quality come up in my on any of these cards, and so everybody's going to have it. And we've seen rolls where it says, are they duffer or utility? And guess what? They're going to gain some red chips, and they have the potential for some high scores. But I mean, that's part of this game, is trying to develop a history. And so part of the history of the 2018 running of the Tenacious Golf Tour is that the Copperhead tournament is going to be windy, and we might see a score that's actually closer to the 2017 score, which I think I said was 270. I had to reduce it because of my pre-tournament roll to set the target score, but it could be that we go up some because of wind. So we'll see. Again, if you could like this video, if you have enjoyed watching History Maker Golf here on the Tabletop Baseball Plus channel, I would appreciate it. Again, if you want to see more of these, and also lots of videos about baseball, and eventually we'll have some videos doing tabletop football, and probably some hockey at some point, and other sports down the road, subscribe to our channel. We would love to have you. We appreciate everybody who does already. And feel free to comment if you have any thoughts, questions, concerns, ideas. Definitely down the road I want to do some golf things with real golfers. But right now I have gotten started with the fictional set, and I think it's pretty neat to see some of these guys. We've seen some guys like Heath Summers a lot. We've seen Gareth Leonard. We've seen Delma Mazzanti and Myung Cho before. We've seen Trent McAdams. So, and in that group that's just below, we had Dustin Emmerich, who's been hanging around. So, you know, we've got some guys that we know, and we're going to learn some more in this tournament, and we'll see how they do in the wind. So, thanks a lot for watching. This has been the Tabletop Baseball Plus channel for my partner, Tabletop Earl. I am Tenacious Earl, hoping you have a wonderful day, that you enjoy your tabletop games, and that God blesses you. We are so happy to be able to bring you these tournaments and these games and these leagues and all of these different sports, and we just appreciate all of you being a part of this. Thanks a lot, and have a great one.